Joining me now is Michele Hammers, Wildlife Campaign Manager for World Animal Protection Canada. Michele, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I look at those numbers and I'm stunned by it. How do we have that many exotic animals in Canada, and how are they escaping?
Because we don't have the regulations in place to prevent this from happening. Each province does their own thing, and in addition, in some provinces, each municipality does their own thing. So that means it's a patchwork where one animal can be kept in, I don't know, community up north, and like just over the border in, let's say, Quebec, it's not allowed. Obviously, animals don't care about borders, so we're seeing a lot of animal incidences happening.
Now, we remember the movie or the show Tiger King. Can we have people like that up here? Can people have tigers as pets here?
In Ontario, definitely, yeah. We actually dealt with somebody, I think it was before COVID, who had a bunch of tigers and lions, was shut down in one place and then picked up and went to Hastings Highlands to set up shop again, eventually got shut down again. And those animals had to be removed, but where those animals went to, nobody knows, because we don't track these things. There's not a government in this country that is tracking animal escapes or wildlife incidences.
And these often, I mean, we were saying Nathan the kangaroo is fun to follow and thankfully he was found, or she was, Nathan, I guess it was a he. And also we had Darwin the monkey. But a lot of these incidents don't end, have a happy ending. They end horrifically, often for the animal, but there have been deaths as well, have there not?
I mean, there have been, and to me, that's something very frustrating as an animal welfare expert, that these stories are reported on as kind of, it's people are laughing about it, it's cute, but really these are issues, much bigger issues than people might think about, like animal suffering, as you mentioned, but also things like illegal wildlife trade, biodiversity laws, invasive species, like these are all risks inherent to captive wildlife. And again, nobody is tracking this. So that's why we came up with this transparency tool where we display all these incidences, and we're asking actually the public to help us out with this. So if they know of anything, they can go to our website, worldanimalprotection.ca/map, and submit what they know, what's happening in their community. So we can really build this foundation and hopefully encourage lawmakers to make the necessary changes.
What would you like to see across Canada?
We would like to see a holistic approach, like a unified approach, because now it's a patchwork. We do know that the federal government has announced they would discuss animal welfare, captive wildlife welfare at the provincial, federal, and territory roundtable. We don't know when or how that will happen, but that needs to happen because honestly, a bear in Nova Scotia needs the exact same thing as a bear in Alberta. So this patchwork approach isn't working for anybody, not for the animals, not for people, not for enforcement officers. So we need a more standardized approach across the country.
So you can have a bear as a pet? Is that how I interpret that?
Luckily, in most places you can, especially, and this is something else quite interesting I find, is that native wildlife is reasonably well protected. But then when we talk about exotic wildlife, so wildlife that doesn't come from Canada, in a lot of places, we kind of shrug our shoulders and be like, that's fine, right? Which in reality, it isn't. These animals have not evolved to live with us. They have not evolved to be in captivity. So whenever we decide that these animals should be in captivity, it should be for very, very good reasons. So, in the animal's best interest or for conservation purposes, but not for like pets and not for other entertainment reasons.
And I want to ask about the 7 elephants that have escaped. Where did they come from and where did they end up? How did they escape? Where did they go?
Yeah, we typically don't know what happens with them once an incident happens, because nobody's tracking this. Often animals will stick to the owner when the incident happens. So if they're not confiscated by enforcement, they will go back to the place where they are kept. How these incidents happens, it depends. I mean, again, elephants are wild animals. They might be okay for a very long time and then just snap. That's totally normal for them. I think there was a recent incident, African lion safari, I think it was back in 2019, where an elephant, during an elephant ride, where tourists are encouraged to ride elephants, snapped and attacked a handler, which was quite traumatic for elephant and the people there. But the elephant is still there because we don't really help these animals to go to better places, unfortunately.
Okay, Michele, thank you very much for joining us and sharing that.
Thank you for having me.